Hey guys, Victor here again, coming at you with another hero deck profile. Now, normally I wouldn't be doing another one so soon because I just recently posted one the other week, but I feel like this version of the deck is different enough compared to the Neos hybrid where it's warranted posting a video on it. And plus, like I said, I'm really tired of like the cookie cutter standard hero deck, so I just want to kind of like spread more variants that people can try and experiment with. So, with that out of the way, let's just jump straight into the deck profile. So we're going to be kicking off the deck profile with the star of the deck, which doesn't happen to be a hero monster. Instead, it's going to be 3 Crosskeeper. So I wanted this deck to revolve around Crosskeeper just because you're going to be able to activate its effects very easily, as you know, you can discard this card from your hand or field to the graveyard, and then you can special summon one hero monster either from your hand or your grave. If you special summon one from the grave, then the effects are negated, but it doesn't really matter. The main benefit for playing Crosskeeper comes from the second effect, where if you special summon an elemental hero fusion monster while this card's in the grave, you can like banish it to draw 2 and then place 1 card from your hand on the bottom of the deck. And it's really easy to do this because the fact that we play the new Flame Wingman card, right? So one of the common plays that you get into the new Flame Wingman card would be like Liquid Soldier plus like Neos, and then Liquid Soldier will draw 2. If you're able to draw a Crosskeeper, it's fantastic because then you can discard that, and then in addition, after that, you can use your Wingman to basically tribute itself to summon Sunrise or whatever level 7 or lower hero monster you may have, and then that in turn will activate your Crosskeeper's effect, so you get to draw 2 more cards. So yeah, just something really cool that I want to experiment with, and I really do enjoy this card. Then after that, we're going to be playing Elemental Heroes, of course, so we're playing 2 Stratos. I don't really think you need 3 for this specific version of the deck. 2 is more than enough to get the job done. Then you also play the 2 Elemental Hero Shadow Mist, standard stuff here. And then pretty much inclusions in every single hero deck. If you want to play like the new Wingman card, we're going to be playing Elemental Hero Neos. It's not a brick anymore, even though it technically still is, but you can actually do something with it as opposed to before. And then we're still playing One Spirit of Neos. This card honestly isn't all that great in this specific version of the deck. It's just, it's a decent counter trap or battle trap that you can use to help you survive a turn. And then when this card is special summoned, you can search for any spell or trap that mentions a hero by name, or Polymerization. Typically we're going to be adding Polymerization, especially if you're special summoning with its own effect. But if you're going first and you go like Crosskeeper, Special Summon Spirit of Neos, there's a bunch of cards that you can search to help you advance your game plan. So just keep that in mind. It has a lot of utility with what it can do. And then for the final elemental hero, we're going to be playing Liquid Soldier. Like I said, Liquid Soldier is still a really good card. Being able to draw 2 cards is just fantastic. And the other effect, sometimes you just need to make Dark Law. So you can activate something like a Fusion Destiny, send Shadow Mist if you summon Dangerous, normal Liquid Soldier, bring back Shadow Mist, search Mass Change, and then sometimes, that can just straight up win the match. And that's the end of the elemental hero portion, but we still play some other heroes too. So for Destiny heroes, the 2 malicious, 1 denier, that's all you need. You don't need plasma because it takes too many resources to make and it just gets blown out very easily. I still don't like Dark Angel. I think it's just mediocre at best, and there's so many decks that are just playing Link Rebo 2 in the extra deck just to out annoying cards like that, so it's just not worth investing all your time into it. And then for the Vision Heroes, we're also still only playing 1 Vision Hero Faris because, like I said previously, while Faris is a fantastic card, you never go for it past turn 1, and it's easily searchable, whether it's like through Stratos, your Crosskeepers, not Crosskeepers, Cross Crusaders, or even Crosskeeper, right? You can draw into it with your with your Crosskeepers, but you never want to resolve it past turn 1. If you do, it's just mediocre past turn 1 basically. And then you have the 1 Vision Hero Increase to complement the 1 Faris. And then finally, we have 2 Vision Hero Vyon because this is usually either the best or the second best normal summoning your deck, depending on what your hand looks like. So even if you hard draw this and you don't special summon it off Faris, that's still a fantastic start and can get your entire engine going just on its own. And with that, that's the monster lineup. I don't play hand traps because I don't believe in hand traps. I'd rather just let my opponent set up and then break their board, naturally. So with that, now we can go into the spell and trap portion of the deck. So for the spells, obviously, since we're playing Destiny Heroes, you have to play triple Fusion Destiny. And since we're playing the Neos monsters as well, those are validated targets for if you want to be able to summon Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer without having to use all your Destiny Hero monsters up, or even say, for example, because there are a couple times where you're using your maliciouses even before you've had a chance to activate something like Fusion Destiny. So you just send your Denier plus like a Neos, it doesn't matter which one, but typically you want to send like the vanilla Neos, I guess. It really just depends on the situation. But yeah, it's still a fantastic card because there are some games where Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer can win on its own. Then you play 3 Hero Lives, your best starter in the deck, especially pay half your life, especially summon an elemental hero. Yeah, just profit. And then after that, since we're playing board breakers, we're gonna be playing 3 Dark Ruler No More. Previously this was Super Poly, but I feel like Dark Ruler No More has like a better place in the metagame currently, just because there are some decks like Kashtira, depending on how they play, that you just can't Super Poly them, or it's just not as effective. So I feel like Dark Ruler answers a lot more decks a lot more easily. And plus, the fact that you're actually able to not have to discard a card in order to, activate it is a really big plus, because card advantage matters a lot in this type of deck. Even though there are some cards that you'd prefer in the graveyard, like the Malicious or your Crosskeepers, depending on the situation. But even though you can't OTK your opponent if you do activate Dark Ruler, just being able to break their whole board and then just set up yours, typically with like an Enforcer, plus like a Dark Claw, and, just things of that nature can go a long way in helping you win the game. And then another really cool tech card that I really enjoy is Allure of Darkness. So I've always really valued consistency, but more specifically, I'd value draw power over searching. As weird as that sounds, because like the search cards for this deck, while they are good, they aren't like the greatest, because the real strength from heroes comes from the spells and traps. And there are times where like they're pretty hard to get to. So something like Allure of Darkness, just banishing worthless darks in our hand and helping us turbo through them, can straight up win the game. And there are like a lot of darks in this deck. So you play like the 2 Shadow Mist, you play all 4 Vision Heroes, the Malicious, the Denier, all 3 Crosskeepers. So it's off of my head. That's what, like 12 cards. So over a fourth of your deck is dark. So you're pretty much always going to be able to have something that you want to banish. And it's not the end of the world. Like even if you banish like a Malicious, right? You can still special summon or normal summon a Denier and then stack that Malicious back on top. Or you can get rid of those brick increases that you will be drawing. Like there's no like, ifs, ands, or buts. You will be drawing increase at one point in your life. So just being able to get rid of that off an Allure and, hopefully be able to play with the cards you draw is valuable. And with that, yeah, so I really like it, but I can understand if you don't want to play it. And then for the 2 ofs, we're playing 2 Mass Change. Mass Change is good. 2 Poly. I really like the double Polymerization, because even if you like hard draw it, it's honestly kind of better if you hard draw it in a lot of situations too, because it allows you to break your opponent's board a lot more easily without having to rely on something like Vyon to actually resolve. And yeah, this card's just fantastic. Then after that, we just play a bunch of 1-ofs. So we're going to be playing the 1-of Miracle Fusion to complement the Polymerizations. You play the Rhoda, the Foolish, and the Emergency Call. They're basically the same card at this point. They pretty much get you to the exact same end board that you want. They're just a little bit more versatile with what you can do, such as like Emergency Call, right? It helps you search out your Spirit of Neos or your regular Neos, so you can, which is something that you can't do with your Reinforcement of the Army, but something that Reinforcement of the Army does offer you is it allows you to search out your Vision Hero Vyons or your Destiny Hero Deniers. And then you even have something like Foolish Burial, right, where you can send Shadow Mist to search for any hero, or if your hand is like insane, you can also just send Crosskeeper to the graveyard to trigger its effect to help you draw 2 cards. So while they all basically function the same, there's like very minor differences that, pretty much like justify playing each version. And then for the final spell, we're playing 1 Called by the Grave, because it's Called by the Grave. You draw it and you're going first. Yeah, you basically just won the game at that point. And that's it for the spells. And then for the traps, we're only playing 2 of them. We're still playing Protection of the Elements. I don't know how to feel about this card. Like, it's a really good card if you're going first, because it's a free spell and trap negate. But like I said, that's if you're going first. If you're going second, it's literally a break, because it's not going to resolve. But if you want, you can just side this card and play something else, but I think for now I'm just going to keep it in the main. And then for the final one, we play Favorite Contact, which, it's a fantastic card, just because the fact that it's actually searchable now thanks to the new Flame Wingman, and then it basically gives us 2 free pops is what the effect reads. So yeah, just a fantastic card I'm really happy that we can actually take full advantage of nowadays. And with that, that's the main deck. It's 40 cards like always. Now we can finally move on to the extra deck. Now when it comes to the extra deck, we're going to be starting off with the one and only Xyz that we play, being number 41 Baguska, the Terribly Tired Tapir. So this is pretty much just in here for those hands where you do get hit by Drone, Lockbird, and Dimension Shifter, both of which are still very popular cards in the current metagame. So because if you get hit by either one of those two, yeah, you're going to be in for a very rough time, because it's very difficult to play around them. But even like Dimension Shifter, even though it is brutal, we do have methods to play around it now, thanks to the fact that we do play, you know, the new Wingman, as we don't care if our Neos get banished. Same with the Flame Wingman, because favorite contact can literally shuffle them from pretty much anywhere. So, you know, we still have ways to play it, but we'd rather be safe and just like sit on the Baguska and like just wait it out so that our cards don't get banished, because there are other cards that we do want in the graveyard, like Liquid Soldier, like Shadow Mist, like Malicious, like Denier, you know, things of that nature. So yeah, just one Baguska. Then after that, we're playing some masked heroes, just two masked hero Darklaw to complement the 2 mask changes. If you want, you can take out one Darklaw, play one masked hero Blast to help your Stratos avoid cards like Effect Veiler or Infinite Impermanence, but I don't really think it's warranted. But it's up to you, like I said. Like the thing about heroes that I really enjoy is that even though most players don't really customize the deck, it is very customizable to like an extent, you know, with like the small minute details that you can make. And one of those just happens to be which master heroes you play. Like you can play Darklaw, you can play Blast, you can play Acid. Sometimes you can play Anki, I guess, if you really want to. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can. But yeah, I think 2 Darklaw is definitely the way to go. Obviously, it sucks against Kashtira, but it's still a really powerful card and can straight up win in a lot of games on its own in a couple of other matchups. Then for the Destiny Hero fusions, you play the one Destiny Hero Dangerous. It's probably the most cuttable card in the extra deck, but I still like it just because there are some times where you have the Fusion Destiny, and what you want to do is send a Shadow Mist, so like you can do the Liquid Soldier play that I mentioned earlier, or even just because like your hand is weak, for example. And you can still get to like Enforcer later on in the turn by just hard summoning it with Polymerization. You can just send Shadow Mist, search something, or even like you don't even have to send Shadow Mist. You can send Crosskeeper too, right? Because if you summon like an elemental hero later in the turn, typically it has to be Escuridao because that's the only dark one you play. But that's still a free draw too if you send Crosskeeper. So you know we have options. Then of course you're playing the Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer because it's Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. Then for the Elemental Hero fusions, you play one Elemental Hero Sunrise, one Elemental Hero Escuridao, and one Elemental Hero Absolute Zero, which pretty much rounds out our Omni heroes. Those are the only ones that are worth playing. You can make an excuse for maybe playing Great Tornado because you can, like, if you play Super Poly, you can Super Poly away sorry, what's the name of that? You can Super Poly away the Kashtira Unicorn. There we go. So, when they like activate Kashtira Theosis to try and copy it, and then you know that's a great way to get rid of it. Or you can play like cards like Elemental Hero the Shining if you're scared of some light-based deck, which or you know do like pop around every now and then, especially in the form of like Drytron or something. But these 2 are pretty much like the only mandatory ones you have to play. And then after that, we play the Flame Wingman, the new one, Elemental Hero Flame Wingman Infernal Rage. The card's fantastic. It searches out your favorite contact, and then after that, if you fusion summon this using like a normal hero monster, which would be Elemental Hero Neos, you can tribute it to special summon one hero from your deck or extra deck that cannot be normal summoned or set. So typically what you want to do is you want to summon the Sunrise, but there are some people that play cards like Aqua Neos, for example, which I'm pretty sure happens to be a level 7, so you can just go Wingman, special summon Aqua Neos effect, discard a card from your opponent's hand and burn them for 500. So, you know, the options are there. It's up to you. I don't think it's worth it in the long run. I'd rather just stick with Sunrise, if I'm being honest. But the choices are there. And then you play the Elemental Hero Shiny Neos Wingman. This is what you're going to be summoning off your favorite contact every time, just because it's just a fantastic card because it destroys cards on summon equal to like the number of attributes you have. So at minimum, it's going to be destroying 1, but typically it's going to be destroying 2 because you tend to have like a lot of darks plus the light monster that Neos Wingman is. So yeah, just another good card. And then something that you don't really make as often in the current hero deck, but is still really powerful, is Wake Up Your Elemental Hero. So this is pretty much firmly like a turn 2 card now, at least in my opinion, as the OTK potential that it offers you if your opponent does end up like breaking your board, but their board is still like pretty like fairly weak, is honestly huge because you're going to be having multiple hero fusions in the graveyard typically, and then it gets multiple attacks, it gains multiple like, you know, boosts depending on the number of materials used, and then it like burns your opponent too. And yeah, this is just a fantastic finisher card. And that's it for the fusions. And then we do play some links. So of course you have to play the one Extra Hero Wonder Driver. This is going to be your main recursion for cards like your Miracle Fusions, your Polys, your Mass Changes, whatever's in the grave. Wonder Driver is great to get, and it's mandatory too, so it will activate every single time, even though it's a once per turn, you know. Or let me rephrase that. It will activate. It's mandatory to activate it when you summon to a zone it points to. So just be a little bit careful, because there are some times where, like, you know, you have like a malicious engrave and you special summon to a zone it points to by accident, and you don't have anything that you actually want to set. So try to play around it until you for sure have something that you want to set. And then you have the 2 extra hero Cross Crusaders. Since this is a lot more traditional, I guess, Cross Crusader does help you a lot more. And it's great for helping you regrind or outgrind your opponent, whether you're bringing back deniers to recycle your maliciouses, or if like they've somehow added your Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer thanks to like a Kaiju or a Lava Golem, which does happen. Yeah, just a great card. It just sucks that it has like a big restriction where you can't summon anything besides heroes the turn you want to use any of these effects, but what can you do? And then for the final 15th card, I just have this because it's honestly your biggest flex spot for what you want it to do. What I'm probably going to make it into is Extra Hero Infernal Devicer, just because it's another method that we can use to search out Elemental Hero Neos. Or if you don't want that, there's other options too. Like I said, you could play the Great Tornado, you can play the Shining, you could even play something like Abyss Dweller, right? Like if you're playing against, I don't know, Tier Limit still, you know, the Tier Limit is a featured deck on this channel, and there are a lot of dedicated tier players, and sometimes some of them do side Droll and Lockbird. So you get Droll by them, you're like, fine, I'll just make Dweller, and then Dweller shuts them down for the rest of this turn. Or yeah, so like I said, this is pretty much whatever you want it to be. It's your choice, but all in all, that's the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya!